Hello, so this is Marley's art here, and this is the first video I'm doing with my face and my voice. I've done speed paints in the past, but nothing like this before, so I'll give myself a little introduction. My name is Marley, I'm 18, I go to an art school in Boston, and I've been doing art for a while. I'm on Instagram, but this is the first real YouTube video I've done, so I thought it was worth it because I just finished my first sketchbook fully, cover to cover. I've done so many different sketchbooks before, but I've never fully committed to one and filled it front to back all the way, but this is the first one I have fully finished. If you're wondering before I get into the tour itself, the sketchbook is a Lectrum 1917 sketchbook. The size is A4, so about 8.5 by 11. I can link it below. I enjoyed using the sketchbook. I think the paper's okay. It doesn't hold different mediums really well, but I think it's good for basic sketching and pencil and pen and stuff like that, so let's just get into it. So as a little intro to this sketchbook, I had to complete a page every single day for one of my classes. We could draw whatever we wanted as long as we did a page every single day. And basically this sketchbook is all the way from a little bit late in December to January, all the way up till April 19th. So I have been doing this sketchbook for around 4 months now, and I'm pretty happy with the end result. I wish I had been better at doing it every single day because I couldn't keep up with that all the time. But overall, I think I did okay. So at the very beginning of the sketchbook, I just have a little title page with my name and some plants and the dates, and I actually did that at the very end when I finished it. And on the other side I drew some plants, and those are actually the glass flowers at the Harvard Natural History Museum. And that was, like I said, at the very end. So then this was my true first page. I never really draw on the very first page because I think it's easier to start in the middle, or at least on the second page. It takes away that stress of making something really good on the first page. So what I did to start out was just a bunch of random sketches. Like, this was the first thing I drew. This was a self-portrait, and I wanted to really try to draw across the pages because usually I'm using a spiral bound sketchbook, and this is the first perfect bound one I've done. Here I was drawing some characters that I made actually in a different sketchbook I did. I did them all in ballpoint pen because that's what I did in the old sketchbook. I just wanted to do like an old versus new. And over here I drew one of my favorite hockey players from the Bruins. His name's Charlie McAvoy. Here I was just doing some Star Wars fan art, some different poses and stuff like that, playing with a little bit of color. And over here I have my character Hunter and just like different sketches of him. I wanted to get his outfit down, so that's what I was trying to do there. Here was part of my class actually. We had to take text and we were practicing lettering. We had to use one of those like ink pens with the nibs and like use it like dipping and drawing. And then over here was me just playing around with some portraits. There's one in oil pastel, and these were all actually me just taking markers and drawing random shapes, and then I went over it with the same like nib pen to practice that even more. And I did a little color pencil too. I was just trying a bunch of different color portraits. Onto here, this was me trying to do some backgrounds. I'm really not good at backgrounds. I think that's probably the most I have to improve on out of everything. I don't draw them that much. I think they're overwhelming, so I was like trying to do a little bit of that. And then this page, obviously more Star Wars stuff. I think this was right after the newest movie came out, so I was kind of like going back and drawing all the characters I like. So I did, you know, Rey and Poe and a couple other little things. This one was me working on doing more background as well as like working on like comic panels, and then just drew some bears and then my character Hunter again. And this page was me sketching a lot of foxes, and I was trying out different mediums. I started all with just the red color erase pencil by Prismacolor, and then I went back and I did that one in color pencil and then just a couple different types of markers. I just wanted to see what I could do. So then I was drawing my character again. Here's him wearing hockey uniform. I was trying to brainstorm ideas for like the different places he could be from and the different teams he could play for. I was trying to think of like a logo, stuff like that. So this side was him again. There's some more. I think underneath here I just had more info about him, but I just stuck this in. And then different poses. And this was in Copic markers, I think. So this was the first official pages of my class before I like went back and filled in other things. And we had a weekly theme every week that we could follow if we wanted to. So the first week's theme was underwear, so I just did that little drawing. And this side was me just doing bird studies. I think anytime you do a study, it's always a good way to fill a page and like get good practice in. Over here I had just some wolf sketches. That was my boyfriend's cat, and a little compositions of pieces I kind of want to do later. This side was actually, I had to make a mask for a class, so I was making this like really scary, terrifying looking wolf mask. Okay, so on this page I was drawing my character as like a hunter, because his name is Hunter, and then I was like making a piece of him as like a werewolf, like turning into a werewolf. I did that for another class, actually. It was a digital drawing class. And then this one was me just doing feet study. I've like never drawn feet before this. Like every time I draw feet, it's pretty much like that. Like they're really not good looking, and I knew I needed to practice them, so that was just more studies. And then this side was a lot of doodles, just a house, myself with a bird on my head. And this side, the theme of the week was uniforms, and I was just trying to think of like different colors associated with different uniforms, so this is what I came up with. I think she's fun. This one was more of my characters' faces, and then Gordon Ramsay. And then this one, more doodles, more sketches. This was China marker, I think, and then a bunch of brush pen stuff. And this is my friend Kat's cat, Hachi, wearing a birthday hat. This side I glued over something. I don't remember what it was, but then I just glued a piece of watercolor paper and I painted with gouache, and that was gonna be Jon Snow, but I never really finished it. This side was more of my character, and then it's just a ship. Couple more hockey players, more Bruins players, and then I just did outfits of the day. I think at this point in the sketchbook I was getting like a little bit worn out of drawing every single day, so yeah. And because that was when I did a whole list of things I could draw because I was running out of ideas. I did a couple little tattoo designs, some instruments, and more of my character. And then this page was a lot of doodles and stuff. And this was like a figure drawing night at the MFA that like me and my class went to, actually. And it was like a clothed model, so we just drew her for a couple hours. More doodles. I think those were from Pinterest that I just drew together. And then this page was all just girls I found on Pinterest, and like I liked their outfits, so I drew them. And I used Crayola markers to color these in, by the way. Some hockey player doodles, and then this was for one of my classes. Those were just my notes for it. And then this page was really fun because I was just taking different types of like music players over time. So then what I did is I put song quotes with each one that were like from the era, which was fun. And then on this side was me and my family. We all went horseback riding in Aruba back in August, and I was just drawing some of those. I drew a different horse underneath this one, but it came out really bad, so I taped that over it. These were some flightless birds I was drawing because my boyfriend asked me to draw them. And then this side was more doodles, more of my cats and his cats and some other cats. And then just like a little minotaur and a mermaid. And yeah, again, I was like really exhausted during this point. So this was actually, I have a notebook that has some fish on it, so I was drawing some of those fish and then just turning it into a pattern. Then this page, more doodles. I went to Rome last summer and I was just really missing it, so I was drawing a couple things from there. Alright, and then this, I glued this over too. I don't remember what was underneath, but then I drew a fox. And then this side was just more silver foxes. I think silver foxes are like one of my favorite animals. This side was me doing figure drawings both at my school and online. So these were from a model session at my school, and a couple of these over here were just online because I had to fill up the rest of the page. But they're pretty fun to do. I think figure drawing is some of the best practice you can get. Just some skulls. This one I went to Cafe Bene, which is down the street from me. And more hockey players and my character. I ended up actually putting a silver fox as his logo in the end, so for his team. This page was all my cats and then all my boyfriend's cats and then a couple other little things. That was the thumbnail for this, obviously. And then this one was something that I just did for fun, but I ended up turning it into like also a digital piece, so I did like a side-by-side of that, and that's on my Instagram too. This page, the theme of the week was robots. I don't really like drawing robots that much, but, and then more models from my school's drawing sessions, and then a bunch more of them too. I think these ones were all 10 minutes and these ones were all 30 seconds to a minute. This page was, in my class we had an exercise where we had to write about a cube that one of our characters found in the middle of a desert and turn it into a whole story. So we had to turn it into a comic. So basically my character just finds a box in the desert that says "break me," but it's just empty. And that was more sketches for that. We had to try to do it like all of the panels being the same size and then all of the panels being different sizes, and then pick which one we wanted to make a final. So I made this one the final actually. And underneath here I have just a little self-portrait I did with pastels. So I glued that over I think a bunch of little doodles of myself that I didn't like. So I glued this pastel paper over it and did this instead. This page was for a different comic, which I'll get to later because it's actually right after this, I think. And then this one, I went to the frog pond down the street from me a couple times with my boyfriend. He was trying to teach me how to skate backwards and how to stop because I'm not the best skater. So yeah, this was the comic, and it was the comic of Orpheus and Eurydice, and that's the myth where Orpheus has a wife that ends up dying, and then he goes to the underworld to save her and has to face like the three-headed dog and then the king and queen of the underworld. So I was doing all of this planning. This is every single page. It was 17 pages long, and I planned it all out in my sketchbook first because this was for my final for my class where we had to make 100 drawings. So I did a 100 panel comic. More figure drawing. I think these were all just online and they were all a minute or 30 seconds long. This one was a drawing I did of my sister when we went to get coffee together. We were just sitting, so. And then this one was when I was at school. I was just drawing a bunch of things on my desk. Got a root beer and a bunch of little stuff. And that's like a mini trumpet that my friend gave me for Christmas. And my guitar's capo. This one, my sister, after I drew that one of her, she wanted to draw me too, so I gave her my sketchbook and she drew me. And then this one was of Jessica Clemens. One thing I have to say is that this sketchbook does not hold watercolor well at all. It really warps. And like you can see it even when you look at the side of my sketchbook. And also I used like just really cheap watercolors from Michael's, and they got all over this side of the page because they're so chalky, they just run off. So this one was for the same class again. My professor and my TA, my teacher's assistant, were making eggs for everyone in the class, and the only thing we had to do was draw them while they did it. So this was the first set of them. It was really fun. and then there's a gap between, but this was just a self-portrait I did, and a couple more just drawings of myself in different outfits and stuff. And then this, I was planning out a film that I had to do. I was just making little thumbnails. It was for a different class, and then this was all the planning for it, so. And then these are more of those drawings of the egg day. These were from, I think, the last model session I went to at my school. And then these ones I took time to do colors, and I want to make this one like cool colors, that one warm colors, because I thought it looked kind of cool together. This is getting towards the end of my sketchbook, so these were some self-portraits I did again, and I actually gave up using like fine liner pens for a while, but I got back into it at the very end of the sketchbook, and I actually really like how it looks on this paper. So yeah, more of the pens. I was doing just some studies with my hands in like different poses and trying to get them down. At this point I was just trying to fill some pages as I was so close to being done. And then yeah, this page was just opossums that I drew. I really love opossums. I think I follow probably like 6 or 7 different opossum rescue pages on Instagram. Yeah. And then at the very end of the sketchbook, so within the past like week or two, I was getting really into Game of Thrones again, so I was rewatching it, and I was drawing Daenerys all over this page, and some dire wolves, or they could just be normal wolves, I don't know. And then Jon Snow, just some drawings of him. When I usually look up references for stuff, it's pretty much always on Pinterest. This one was one I just drew from my head, so I drew him with Ghost, which is fun. And then these two were actually a couple that I did just the other day ago. So they were a bunch of band members. I really can't name them all. I'm sorry, I don't remember their names off the top of my head. But yeah, they were all just contour drawings because I was really trying to fill pages, like I said. And then we're at the very end. So this one was, you can clearly tell I just wanted to be done, but it was a drawing I did of my dog, and I think it was just a picture I found on my sister's Instagram. So yeah, so that's the end of the sketchbook. At the end, the very end, there's pockets in it. So what I did is I just put in some different reference photos in case I wanted to draw in class but I couldn't pull out my phone, and then some just like pictures and stuff like that. So yeah, that was it. Okay, well that's it. That was my first sketchbook tour done. I'm really glad to have finished it, and I'm glad to finally be making a video with my face and my voice and all that. So hopefully I'll have more soon, maybe over the summer, because I am in school right now. But anyways, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure you like or comment or anything. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.